it through. I'm normalizing it and then amplifying it through, and then modifying it into.
What's happening is the mics are clipping.
So, I know, but I turned it down and I watched them, and they barely went into red.
You can't let it go in the red at all. That happens with this show too.
I'll turn it down some more.
I need to turn.
I was perpetually afraid that we would be too quiet. So this, but
yeah,
you know,
I'm okay. I just gotta talking. I'm talking in the show volume. I'm talking real loud. I'm not clipping. Okay. It turns out if I set us to the same thing.
I like doing that.
It's like you're in 3D.
That's right. 3D House of Me.
Hey, Pixel Vixen. Hey, Andy. How's it going?
What up, Pix?
We got a couple of Pixes around here. Hey, Paul. I'm going to make our chat real big. We're doing awesome. We're ready for a fun night of Amiga talk. And then some Spectrum talk.
I'm a happy boy tonight.
Oh yeah,
it's all good all the time.
Did you have a Spectrum, Pixel Vixen? We're doing great, Andy. How do our levels sound? Do we sound okay? There we go.
We always sound good, yo.
Thanks, Leaf. Thank you, Andy. Hey, haha, no. What's going on, Dunk? Hey, Paul.
The Dunk.
The gang's all here. We're all ready. Paul, you're already back. I thought you had a family affair this evening. Wasn't there a show called Family Affair?
Yeah, there sure was.
Was it a drama? Was it a comedy?
It was a both, as I recall. It was a hilarious dramedy. It was mostly funny.
Was it like Our House with Wilford Brimley?
I never watched that.
That was on when I was very young, and I was kind of scared of the house. They had the different rooms, and the things would come out of the house.
Yeah, I never saw that one. I know who Wilford Brimley is, but I never saw that particular show. No, I mean, this is one of the shows that was like back when I had no cable. There was nothing going on, and you're a kid, and so you're gonna watch whatever's on.
Right.
So did I watch Family Affair? Yeah. Did I watch My Three Sons? Yeah. Did I watch Beverly Hillbillies? Yeah. Lucy? Yeah. You know, whatever was on. No, you don't have a choice. So,
I love all those shows.
You know, what was that? What was that? Courtship of Eddie's Father.
I don't know what that is.
You know, so.
Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Family Affair. Is that the one that had the butler? I'm trying to get that guy. If that's the one. There's a couple I get mixed up in my head. You never had Bill Bixby.
I don't know who that is.
He played the Incredible Hulk, the non-Hulk version of the TV show. Bill Bixby.
I thought that was so Lou Ferrigno wasn't both. I thought he just
it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night. Why would a huge guy just turn green? That's not what Hulk does. He's a little dork boy, a little geek. And then he hulks up.
I guess you're right. I never thought about it that way.
Not to mention, Lou Ferrigno is not what I would call a quality speaker.
I've seen him on some of the World's Strongest Men.
And I like Lou. Oh yeah, those ones where he's moving the fridge and stuff. Yeah, he's just, don't get me wrong, he's all man. But I'm just saying he's not what I would call a guy you want in a speaking role every day. Plus, he's just a big, huge oaf. Good Lord. Oh man. Okay.
I watched Avengers: Age of Ultron the other day.
Really, I watched an Avengers movie this week too. I watched the one with the Thanos in it.
Oh, see, I was going to watch that one next.
Did you like?
I was thinking about what you said about the inept police force and the Batman movie.
Yes.
And I think that the police force in these Avengers movies is you know, it seems like in order to have superheroes, you have to have a police force that's just absolutely useless.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, at least in the Marvel movies, they're fighting stuff that they can't possibly defeat. In Batman, up to the Bane episode, they're fighting guys that they're just guys. They can take those guys out. You know, I mean, when you're fighting Ultron, what are you gonna do? You shoot him? Stun him? You're boned. He's a killer robot,
that's
dude.
True.
You know.
Was Ultron ever actually in the comics, or did they make it up?
No, absolutely. Now, the comics was so much more interesting. So, I'm going to go into this for the show because I can't help myself. You ever heard of Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Ant-Man's a guy.
He's one of your guys.
Ant-Man's a guy called Henry or Hank Pym, P-Y-M.
P-I-M.
P-Y-M. And so he's the master of the Pym particles, and that's what makes him turn into an ant. he could also use him to turn into a giant guy. He calls Giant Man, right? So he was doing this for a while because the other Avengers are like, you got Thor and all these studs, and then you got, here comes Ant-Man, right? So he felt like he was not pulling his weight. So he was Giant Man. Well, the problem is when he turned into Giant Man, it was killing him. It was killing his body to do that. So he kept trying to be more, he had an inferiority complex. And so he had a cunning plan. And the cunning plan was to make a robot that he would crush to make himself look awesome, okay?
Okay.
And that robot was Ultron.
Ultron.
Right? And he used some of his brainwaves in it. And he also used some brainwaves from a guy called Wonder Man. So, anyways, suddenly here comes Ultron, and he kicks all the Avengers' butts. And then the plan is Pym has made it so he'll win. It's a ringer, right? Well, guess what? Something happens, and Ultron's like, "Oh yeah," and just start whooping that hind. Whoops Ant-Man's hind, whoops everybody's hindy, and then bam, you got Ultron. He absolutely hates the Avengers. He hates humanity. He hates Pym. That's where Ultron came from in the comics. It was a great series because it was realistic. Not only did Ant-Man have an inferiority complex, but his wife was in the group, Wasp. He got so upset with her, he smacked her around in the books, which was a huge deal, as you can imagine.
Now, is this the same as the girl that they put in the Ultron movie, one of the Russian twins? Was that Wasp?
I don't know, Russian twins?
Yeah.
No, you're thinking Scarlet Witch and Black Widow.
She's got
She's neither
telepathic powers?
No.
Okay.
Her name's Jan, and Jan basically her powers are to shrink, and she's got what's called stingers, like little lasers, like they're stun guns that are built in her hands. But she's actually not super powerful, but she actually led the Avengers in the comics for a while because she's smart. In the comics, she's like a fashion designer, and she's hooked, and she's married to Hank. But it was a great series of books. The Avengers in that era was tremendous. The movies, they had to screw around with it. Henry Pym is an interesting case study in comics because for the longest time, he had this inferiority complex. And even in the West Coast Avengers, which is another great book, he changed his whole gimmick now. He was Henry Pym Adventurer. And he wore this big coat.
Like Indiana Jones sort of thing?
Sort of, yeah. He wore this big coat. And his gimmick was, like, they'd be like, "Hank, we're screwed. What are we going to do? We've got to cross this water." He'd be like, "Oh, hold on a second." He'd get in his coat with a pair of tweezers. He'd go like, ting. And then go like, blah, 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 put some Pym particles on. All of a sudden, you get a full-size boat.
Wow.
Or a tank.
I'd be using Pym particles all the time.
Or a portable lab. He carried all this crap in his coat. It was awesome. But I mean, he got so depressed in that he actually attempted suicide.
Really?
So he was sort of like a Marvel's, like, redheaded stepchild. They just abused this guy for years. But that's what made him cool. He was an interesting character. In my opinion, I don't know one gives a crap about this.
Do you think that was the most successful big screen adaptation of a comic book character?
Who?
Ant-Man?
I've not seen his movies.
Really?
I haven't seen either one of them. They're on my list. They're on my list to watch. I haven't got to see them yet, but I heard they were good. The see is that in the movies, Hank Pym's role in the comics, Ant-Man's suit was stolen by a guy, and Hank sort of allowed it to happen. So this new guy is Ant-Man, right? On the movies, that's also what happened. So it's not Hank being Ant-Man; it's another guy. So, but still, I'm going to give him a shot.
So you know what we're doing today, right? There's no confusion.
Type Mania.
Right.
Type Mania.
And
I've got the videos sitting right here, and there's only one update on the site, so I got that too.
Okay. You're going to do the site news.
And the videos, all right?
And I don't know what
YouTube,
yeah.
Right? That's what you told me. I got it right here. There's only one update, and then I've got the...
Okay, I'm going to get our channel
DK released a bunch of stuff, but he didn't put it on our site, so I'm just going to mention that.
Okay,
check his channel for some stuff, Because DK's been putting up a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. Hey, what is this game? I didn't see your playthrough of that.
That's Chris Folds put that up.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you watched that yet?
Yeah, it's like a little kind of run and gun.
What does that stand for? Does that stand for something?
Don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that too. That'll be cool.
What does the stream name say, Pixels? Dang it!
Wow.
You think I know what our show is called, huh? I'm always trying to set this stuff up. I use Chrome Remote Desktop
From work.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I use it all the time when I need something.
And so I'm trying to set stuff up on there. So when I get here,
You know, remember last week on the show that when I was giving him the Amigo Aaron Arcade Challenge, and I was giving his emails, and he made fun of my email address for being a loser? I gave the wrong one.
I heard that on ART, yeah.
So I'm going to do that again. But I have gotten a couple submissions.
Well, that's good.
Which is incredible.
What did you
get?
get?
No one ever emails ARG.
Figure 4, chokehold?
No, one of them, well, I don't want to give them all away. They're very clever. Both of them very clever. So I'm going to keep running my hat for now.
Okay, those are my favorite submissions.
What were the other one? Which ones did you say?
Figure 4, chokehold, the sleeper.
What are you talking about?
My favorite submissions.
Oh, boy. That sucks, bro. You're horrible. Horrible. Book this man for the... What are those mountains up in New York where all the washed-up hack comedians used to go?
Are those like the H.P. Lovecraft?
No,
like
no. These are the
New York?
upstate New York, where all the rich people went for the...
Like the...
it's not the Pickaninnies or somewhere up in there.
I know what you're talking about. Like Rockefeller had a mansion up there, or like a cabin.
What is that place called up there? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called.
Anyway.
Somebody in the chat might know.
See, Roy, sorry, when you can't remember the actual part of the joke, it sort of ruins the entirety of the joke. I'm ready, man.
Okay.
I'm ready to do this sucker.
Oh, wait a minute.
Is there anything going on I don't know about? Or you just gonna bring it on me? We're starting another new show. My Sam Coupe.
All right, well, I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Aaron's Amiga Challenge. Where are you going? He just ran off. I don't know what he's doing. How you guys doing? At least I can see the chat. Hey, how good were you guys at this game? Anyone that's paying attention? I would be interested to know how far you got in Pipe Mania. Because I don't know how stupid to feel. I gotta read this. Yeah, it's funny you're talking about a guy with a C64 in his shed. I found the show on YouTube. It's called Man Shed or something like that. That's what it's called.
Man Shed?
I think it was called Man Shed. And it's this guy, he does like computer review stuff. He does a smoke pipe?
So I've cleaned this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what game are we doing this week?
Sherlock Holmes?
This, my friend, is what's called a bit.
Oh. I thought you mocked our bits. Didn't you say they were needless and foolish and we looked like jackasses?
Well, I discovered that...
Should I keep this?
Yeah, because you're going to have it in your mouth when we start the show.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. Then I found out that people like the bits.
The 8-bit man shed. That's it.
The 8-bit man shed.
That is the one. I like man shed.
Well, you can have your own show.
I'll be the 16-bit man shed. I'll be 8-bit better.
Man, I look awesome when I smoke a pipe.
Do you? How do I know this has been? It's got gnaws all over.
Well, I cleaned it. I just ran a bunch of alcohol on it.
Is there going to be some, where's the tobacco?
Yeah, we're tobacco free this time. All right, you ready to start the show?
Is there anything going on I don't know about? You said there was a huge packed show. I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah.
Are we changing anything? Because you never tell me nothing.
Okay, we got to do mailbag. We're going to do the game. No, we're going to do the mailbag. Then we're going to do the site news. Then we're going to do the news. Then we're going to do the game. Then we're going to do user reviews. Then we're going to do feedback.
So nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. I don't really look cool with this pipe. little creepy. All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about
Pipe Mania.
Aaron, when was the last time you smoked a pipe?
Well, I do like I can't even say it. It's been a while. I do have a lovely wooden pipe at home that on occasion I will put some cheap cherry tobacco in and have a good puff now and again.
That sounds good. That sounds good. You know, I used to be way in to smoking pipes. I had a large collection, and then I realized that my love of pipe smoking was much like my love of vinyl records. It was mostly the outrageous expense and inconvenience that attracted me to the habit. I spent 95% of my pipe smoking time attempting to light the pipe. And
then keeping them lit can also be a trifle.
Yeah, yeah. So
Indeed.
I think I will put this particular pipe aside and turn us over to this week's Everything Amiga site updates. Aaron, what's new in our Amigos community?
All right, so we just had one big update from our good friend, the Dreamcatcher, and he did a little something this week on the Naughty Ones. Now, Boat, this is actually a pretty popular game, as I recall. Have you ever played the Naughty Ones?
I have not played the Naughty Ones. Who are they, and what are they doing?
Listen, I'm from America, but I hear about this game all the time on other shows, podcasts, and whatnot. And I've not played it. I've never played it before. I just know of it. It looks cool, and of course DK's all over it with his usual in-depth stuffery. And I will say, the two little guys are amusing looking. It looks like a pretty fun game. And while we're on the subject of Dreamcatcher, he's released, if you check his channel out on YouTube, he's been a production machine. He's been putting out a lot of good stuff over there. So I always recommend some Dreamcatcher action. And this should be good. And this is what we should probably put on the list, because I mean, it's a pretty big, I think it's a pretty popular title. I just haven't got around to playing
these guys, the Naughty Ones, you know who they remind me of? Another famous Amiga game, the guy in Magic Pockets. Remember that game, Magic Pockets?
I know of. We've played that before, haven't we? I mean,
we've never done it on the show, but we've played it for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I will say, this you know it's a hit when it comes in 3 flavors. There's an ECS, an AJ, and a CD32 version.
Oh, cool.
So, it's super awesome when that happens. So
yeah,
it should be fun. That's pretty much all that's popped up on our site, but we had a ton of stuff pop up on YouTube this week. We'll just rewind all the way to the beginning here. So, of course, you did some playthroughs this week on a couple different games. Bruce Lee on the ZX.
This actually is, I believe that this is Chris Folds.
Is this Folds?
Bruce Lee, yeah.
Well, no one ever labels these things. I have a hell of a time figuring out who's what. And also,
you need to actually read the description of the video.
I know
it's difficult.
I never do it. I never hit the more info button, because that's how they get you.
That's how they get
your secret information. And I think we mentioned this was right around press time last week, but also I think same fellow there, Folds. I think he also was at Folds, or maybe Pixel that looked at Road Avenger last week. Why don't you click on that?
Yeah, we talked about a little bit of that last week. This was Duncan.
I've watched all of this twice, and this is one of the craziest games of all time. It deserves a second glance. Because I watched the opening, before I just wanted to see the clarity of the video and stuff, but basically, your guy's getting married, and then as he's getting married, road punks come up and wreck his car and kill his wife. And this is the happy, fun arcade experience that you will have when you do Road Avenger. Because then the whole goal of this game is to kill the gang, and you don't care who else you kill. Your guy's driving through shopping malls, he's up on sidewalks. He's just running over everyone.
He's the Road Avenger.
Well, yeah, but I mean, good Lord, you're killing half the state. No good. No good. Now, why don't you talk about, because I didn't get to watch this, Amiga Live with Boat and Chad. What did you do?
Well, this is...
Oh, Chad.
Right.
Excuse me.
Okay, so for some reason, the ARG thumbnail refuses to yield, and it's there on our channel forever, no matter how many times I change it. But I got together with some of the boys in the chat, and we played some Worms.
Now, is this the playing the live?
This is Amiga Live.
Outstanding.
And you can use Amiga Live to obviously play simultaneously with people from all around the world.
Now, we've talked about doing this before, but we never actually did it.
I actually did it this time.
So, having not seen this video, how did it go? How were the performance?
It really depends on everyone's individual internet connection, just like so many things in life.
I don't know why that certainly is funny.
But I managed to play. It was Paul Harrington was there, Pixels at Dawn, and Free Lunch. We all convened to play. I also played a little bit with Neville Overman, otherwise known as Leaf Calland. We played a practice game of Worms. But overall, it was a good experience. Paul, he showed his, he continues to dominate. You know, he won all of those contests at Amiga Ireland.
Yeah.
He's pretty much a gaming prodigy, and he, of course, won our match here. But it was a lot of fun to play with the guys in real time. Like I said, lag wasn't as much of an issue. I'd really like to try something a little bit faster paced next time, like Sensible Soccer, to see how that holds up.
I will say Worms, if I may quote Brent, Worms is my jam.
It's my bad.
And I am the undisputed world champion at this game, having never lost a legitimate game without some cheating being involved. So I would love to get online and play some multiplayer Worms. This looks very cool.
Yeah.
So now I got to get in on that. That looks great. Might be time for a midnight run on this.
Ooh.
That'd be a lot of fun. So check that out. I'll have to watch that myself because I didn't realize that's what you guys are up to. So me and the Brent, we had an interesting week. You know, I really enjoyed this particular episode. It was right up our alley. We picked games from the Midway catalog. Midway the story of Midway is a lot like the story of the demise of Amiga and who owns the rights to it. It's just a crazy corporate disaster. That, by the way, was the guy that did it. But we picked a couple games from their catalog after we looked at their history. Brent picked a game called Journey, based on the band. And I picked a game called Satan's Hollow.
Based on the Satan?
Based on the Satan. And for once, just to tip our hand a little, we both liked each other's games. And I loved them,
That
actually.
rarely happens on this show.
And we just both happened to pick games from the early 80s. And it was a lot of fun. I will go to bat against anyone when I say that Satan's Hollow is one of the all-time great shooting games. It is a tremendous game. It has very little flaw, if any. And Journey is not the best game I've ever played, but it's a lot of fun, and it is sort of dopey fun.
Right.
You know, you've played both of these.
I love both these games.
Just for fun, do you have a perspective or a thought on them?
Journey I always just thought was crazy because it seems like it's way too early to have digitized images in games.
I think it was 84, I think, when it came out, or 83.
I was not a big fan of Journey until, I wouldn't call myself a big fan of Journey now, but I mean, I wasn't really aware of them until like high school. So I missed their whole, when they were actually popular. I guess I was too young. So, but it is interesting that they were so large that they were the ones chosen to have this video game made after them.
It's wacky that they happen to be the ones. They were Johnny on the spot to get that crazy digitization technology, which works. It actually works pretty well. And that you got to give the brilliant programmers, credit for making that happen, given the parameters of what you could do in that era. Did you ever have a cup of coffee with Satan?
You know, Satan's Hollow, I've played it a couple times, but just like Brent said, you really need to get familiar with how the shield works to really get the most out of it. So I'm gonna have to go back to it. I'll tell you one thing about ARG is it always puts me in the mood to go back to the games that you talk about and give them another shake.
Well, if we do anything, it's that. And I will say Satan's Hollow, and I don't know how popular it was, honestly. I mean, in my circle, it's pretty popular, but if you have never played Satan's Hollow, I mean, it is an outstanding game. It looks great. And like I mentioned on the show, when it first came out, I had to look around the arcade to make sure no one was looking as I slinked over to it, because that was a kind of a big taboo.
Oh, yeah.
It felt weird, at the time. It only got a release on the C64, so one of these days we've got to give that a shot too.
Absolutely.
I've heard pretty good things. One last item I want to touch on, actually two little items. Last week on Insert Disc 2, after Amigos taped up, we talked about a couple of different topics, but the main topic was the Forbidden Worlds Point Ops front end. Tremendous
Forgotten
front end.
Worlds.
Forgotten Worlds. What did I say?
Forbidden Worlds.
Same difference. And It's an excellent front end if you're into that sort of thing. It takes pretty much, it holds your hand, does everything for you. I recommend that. And lastly, we had another stream here, Amigos Place PTM. We were just talking about this one, and I'm not even sure what PTM stands for, but you said you've had a look at this already.
Yeah, so this is a run and gun platformer. Chris Folds put this up. He took a look at it. This is a brand new Spectrum game, just released in 2019.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, you should actually watch and read the video descriptions. The stuff is actually cool. It's not just something we talk about every year on the show.
It just came up.
It's been on the site a full week.
Oh, it has not.
So anyway, PTM, it's a great game. You should check it out if you like Rolling Thunder. If you like,
it looks great.
Yeah, it's you know, they really know how to program for the Specky now. They know how to make the color clash work in its favor.
It finally happened.
Yeah, it finally happened in 2019. So thank you, Chris, for putting that up, and thank you, Duncan, for putting up the game that you put up, The Road Avenger.
Yeah. That looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at what's been going on in the wider world of Amiga news. Let's fire up the gamble train. Let's get on board, and let's see what's cooking. First up, Aaron, I know you like to use SSL to make all of your internet-based connections on your Amiga, right? You're constantly just tunneling your way through those secure socket layers.
Nope.
And it's unbelievable. Well, Aaron, I'll tell you this. There is a new AMI SSL package that's just been released for OS 3 and OS 4. So if you are using your Amiga in 2019, your modern Amiga, to do all your normal internet things, banking and e-commerce and such, you can.
More power to you, pal, if you're doing that.
Hey, man, they're out there. They're doing it. Make sure you stay secure and download this new AMI SSL package. You got no comment on that?
Good. I mean, hey, who'd have thunk it? As my comment, I'm literally staring on in disbelief at what I just heard. I can't believe that.
There is a new PDF magazine out there. This comes from our friends over at AmigaNews.de. This magazine is called Rev in GE.
Yeah, I've read this a bunch of times.
This is issue 95, so it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, we've actually mentioned it long ago.
Okay, yeah. And this is an Amiga heavy issue. This has got Rick Dangerous 2, Sensible Golf, and the infamous Amiga port of Street Fighter 2. So if you want something, you know, I still mourn the loss of Kickstart magazine, you know, our own Amigos magazine. And if you're looking for something to read with that retro edge, check this out. It's free. Revenge, number 96.
You know, speaking of Sensible Golf, I actually I finally sat down and gave that a whirl. In fact, I recorded a video and I don't think I ever posted it. That was a misstep. I mean, if you compare that to any of the more comparable golf games, that was not for that studio. You would think they'd come up with something a lot better.
In the devs, their excuse, and when I say that, it means like it's not valid. But I believe that it's true. They said that they just didn't have time. They wanted the company wanted to rush the game out, and they basically shipped an unfinished game. So, next up, we've got a new game, a new Amiga game. It's just released. It's called Aminor. A minor. I don't know. AMI.
It's hard to make that one. It's hard to make it work.
Yeah. Now, this is a game. This comes to us from our buddy Neil over at Indie Retro News.
Yes.
We love Indie Retro News.
Yes.
This is, and actually it also comes from Saberman, who is always first out of the gate with these playthrough videos. But this is a game like Mr. Driller. Did you ever play Mr. Driller on the arcade or on the Dreamcast or anything?
It seems like I played it on the PlayStation.
PlayStation, yeah.
But man, it's been a while back.
Yeah. So this is that same sort of similar game where you start on the surface and you are tunneling down, down, down for big points.
Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks great. So check that out over on Indie Retro News. Our next couple stories actually come from Indie Retro News. You know, we use them so often, and Neil's always been so kind to us. I decided to start giving it a couple bucks every month on the old Patreon. I mean, they're such a great resource, Indie Retro News.
Outstanding.
This is a new compilation. We've talked about these for months and months now. This one was just released here at the end of February, the CD32 and Beer multiplayer compilation, February 19th edition. So this one includes Alien Breed, Chaos Engine, Ikari Warriors, and Hired Guns.
I see a bunch. If you scroll down to that games list, the Archons are there. But you know, there's some good stuff in there. I mean, I see a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So these compilations are always gold. If you got a CD32 and you've got a buddy and you've got a brewski, you're in business. All right, up next, Aaron, this is the next release from the guy that brought us the real Bruce Lee.
Yes, I remember that one.
He's back with a new game. This is the All Valley Karate Championship.
Yeah. So
this is right on the heels of the Cobra Kai YouTube-based new TV series. This is set in the world of the Karate Kid. This is a Saberman playthrough again. It looks like you can choose from a wide variety of Karate Kid characters.
Wow, they did a good job on the faces.
And this thing, I mean, it looks good. It's definitely you know, it's limited in its animation, but hey, what games give you the chance to fight as Mr. Miyagi?
I gotta give the guy credit. Number one, he did a good job on getting the faces right. Because if you looked at that list of the different people, there's just some pretty obscure characters in there. Right. Then he's got the ref. If you've watched that movie recently, because that is the correct tournament name, and that ref's got the correct ref. I mean, I give him credit. This looks way better than Bruce Lee.
I mean, I'd be more likely to play this than something like One Must Fall. Let's be honest.
I'm guessing this is some sort of like a karate champ takeoff.
Yeah, you got your health bar down here.
Now, the big question is, can you do the crane kick?
If that's not in there, I'd be very disappointed. That should be, hold the button down and spin the circle.
Have you watched the new Cobra Kai show? It's not that new now. It's a year.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Have you?
I watched the first 3 episodes. It is weird. Let's just put it that way, because Johnny is a loser in it who knows a lot of good karate, and Daniel-san is a wealthy, I believe he's a car dealer.
Oh, so the tables have turned a little bit here.
But Daniel feels bad for the Cobra Kai guy's still sort of a jerk, and he starts his old dojo back up, but he's still also sort of non-evil, but he's still sort of evil. I watched all the 3 episodes and I gave up.
A lot of gray area in there.
That's
sounds like.
Just like my beard.
All right, we got one more story, Aaron, and this is not directly related to the Amiga, but it is in keeping with both our show last week on Tiger Claw and this week's inaugural episode of our Sinclair. Aaron, it's finally happened. What we've always dreamed for. Bruce Lee has a sequel, a real sequel.
Okay.
This was released today.
I haven't heard anything about
by
it.
Megastyle for the C64. And what they have done here is they have taken the Bruce Lee engine, made it exactly like what you remember, and just made a whole bunch of new levels.
Oh.
So it's everything that you love about Bruce Lee. It's the exact same gameplay, the exact same. Yamo's back, the ninja's back, but you just got a whole bunch of new challenges.
And this is for
the C64.
Wow. I hope they port this up to the Amiga, number one. And number two, thank you, sweet Lord.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was looking for.
Right. I mean, I just saw Yamo give the call right there.
That's a great idea, too. Now, this is available right now?
This is available now.
Is it for sale?
It is for free.
Really?
For free.
Wowzers, man. That is...
So you can go over, this of course was from Indie Retro News, but if you go to megastyle.itch.io, you can download it now.
Let me ask you a question, and you may not know this. Am I wrong, or was there ever to me in the back of my head, it seems to me at some point in the past, there was a Bruce Lee 2. Am I insane?
I have not heard of it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Okay, I may have to look into that later. Because my research didn't turn anything up about it, so maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. I could have sworn there was one.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so.
That looks awesome, though. I can't wait. Please port that over to the Amiga.
So the sun is setting, Aaron. The gamble train is pulling away over the horizon. We come to an end of another week's worth of Amiga news. But don't worry, because the hits just keep on coming, Aaron. We got some mail in the mail this week. Got a message from a listener. And this comes to us all the way from New Mexico. Okay, the other side of the country.
Yeah.
This is a guy named Adam Triunfo. He says, Dear Boat and Aaron, this past weekend I was given a large collection of Atari 8-bit items. Oh. For some reason, mixed in among some of the boxes was an Amiga 600 motherboard.
Whoa.
It was in a box with many books and magazines on top of it. Not a good sign, I know. I'm also an Amiga user and listener to your show, so I figured that I'd try to get it to work with my Amiga 1200 power supply. I plugged it in, but when powered on, the screen turns white when the system boots and no screen ever appears. It actually looks like the system constantly resets itself. I expect that this motherboard is damaged in some way, but perhaps one of you guys would want this Amiga 600 and its expansion 1 meg RAM card. He said, I listened to your first podcast in December 2016, and I just finished episode 127 from January 2018. Wow. So he's listening in the past, basically. One of these days, I'll catch and start listening to the current episode. I'm still loving the podcast. It's great fun to listen.
Well, that's all. That was a nice gesture.
Adam and at first I was like, well, do we need a broken Amiga 600 motherboard? And then I remembered that we have an another broken Amiga 600 motherboard. And I thought, well, with your knowledge, your extensive knowledge of circuits and the Amiga motherboard architecture in general, maybe you could take something that is working on this broken board and combine it with our broken board to make one fully working Amiga 600.
Yeah. Tell them to send it on in. I will say that's a nice gesture.
I'm glad you said that because I have it right here in my hands.
That was quick.
So this is the Amiga 600 motherboard, lovingly packaged.
What are the odds that you would find that amongst a bunch of Atari 8-bit stuff?
Isn't that weird? And he says he's a huge Atari 8-bit guy, and I said, well, you're in good company because both Aaron and I love the Atari 8-bit systems. And so here we have it.
Luckily for us, we are, you were very kind to mention how genius I am. The problem is it's not true. However, I don't see any outward signs of super death.
Mm-hmm.
I already fixed it. That was easy. No, I don't know. We'll have to look at it, but hey, that was nice. And maybe we could put something together with it. Dusty, you can tell this thing's been out of service for a while, and there's a little expansion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. We appreciate that.
That was nice of you, Adam, and we will put it to good use. We will consult all the geniuses that make up the audience.
Right, and we have many geniuses among us that are not us.
I got a feeling a little chip resetting and wham bam Bob's your uncle. That's
Man,
my
wouldn't
guess.
that be great?
Hey,
that's
great. It's the old. It's probably just a fuse.
Right,
just like an old pinball.
Just the pinball. Yep. All right, Aaron.
Thank you, Tin.
From boards to chips to pipes, it's time to fix those leaks. It's time to talk about Pipe Mania.
Pipe Mania. Now, I guess it goes beyond question when I go, Pipe Mania's running wild, brother.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'll admit, before we start, as I often do, I've never played Pipe Mania or Pipe Dream. It was apparently known over here. And I'm guessing you had played this.
I had never played it.
Really?
Never.
How did this one get past you, Bo? It's right up your alley.
I know. I can't believe I'd always heard of it, but I never played it.
So, Pipe Mania, which we'll refer to it, released in '89, so not too late in the game. One disc, and this actually has 2 simultaneous players, which I didn't get to try 2 players, but I did watch a video of it.
Yeah, and one thing I think Pixels might have pointed out on the Discord is this is one of the few Amiga titles which support 2-player, 2-mouse action.
Oh, sort of like Lemmings,
right?
Yeah,
right.
That's crazy. So this was developed by the Assembly Line. These guys put out, we've played. I've only played a couple of their games, but I mean they did Xenon 2, which is a great game. The Interface, Exterminator, Emotion, and Vaccine. This was published by Empire, but it's got a copyright with Lucasfilm Games. I'm not sure how this worked. Like I said, we know the Assembly Line developed it, and I think it was hard. I couldn't pin down for sure, but I think this was developed on the Amiga, but I'm not 100% sure.
I believe that you're right. I think the Amiga was the very first version, and I think maybe the console ports were published through LucasArts.
I think you're right. So, I didn't even know this had console ports. On the old consoles or the new ones? I did see it had like a PS2 or 3 release.
This came out on PS2, came out on the Game Boy, and in Japan it came out on the Super Famicom.
Crazy. So, I wanted to go over the people that worked on this because I thought it was interesting what that previous things that they'd done. The artist on this was someone named Akila J. Redmer, and their only other credit is a really good game that I think we've mentioned on this podcast before called Their Finest Hour, which is a World War II flight simulator, Battle of Britain. It's a really good game, and the art in it's really good. So, which is funny because the art in this is just sort of, there's not much to it, really. And the coder on this is a fellow named Stephen L. Butler. He did Mickey's Jigsaw Puzzles and Mickey's Memory Challenge.
Wow.
So there you go. as you mentioned, there were a ton of, this thing may be the most, I thought we'd seen it all with conversions, but get this, aside from what you mentioned, you've got the Acorn Archimedes, the Amstrad, the Atari ST, BBC Electron, BBC Micro, the C64, the Sam Coupe.
Oh, yeah.
There's one right there.
Mm-hmm.
DOS, the ZX Spectrum, and then it also supported Tandy graphics, which is awesome. And it ran the gamut from Hercules off to VGA. So if you think about it, a game like this, you can see how it's one of the few games that you could go from full color all the way down to Hercules and still make it work. Because how many games could you do that on? Not so many. That would be, and where it wouldn't affect the overall play of the game.
And I believe that, I don't think you mentioned this, but one thing that we found out from our buddy Matt Beckett, is that he said that this came with the Windows 95 entertainment pack as well.
It sure did. Yeah. So, what is Pipe Mania? It's actually a pretty simple concept at first. Now, when the screen comes up, you're given a menu, okay, and you've got basic 1-player, expert 1-player, and competitive 2-player. All right. Now, and you've also got training. All right. Now, I tried basic and training and expert 1-player. Just to get it out of the way, expert 1-player was beyond me because the pipe.
Well, why don't you explain what the game is first?
So you have a board. It starts out as basically like a large group of grids, basically, and it starts out with a spigot or whatever, and you have a series of pipes, different pipe shapes on the left-hand side of the screen that you have to fit on this screen, and there on the right side of the screen there's a timer. When the timer gets to 0, liquid starts coming out of the pipe. Right. And you have to connect pipes to the main pipe, keep this liquid flowing as long as you can. And at the top of the screen, there's a number that you have to fulfill this amount of pipe sections to complete the level. If you don't fulfill them, you lose. It's pretty simple. You have to keep adding pipes. Now, the pipes come down sort of on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see the next 4 or 5 pipes coming. And so you have to lay these pipes down to keep the goo flowing. Now, you're not always going to have the piece that you want. So you have a couple options. You could sort of plan in advance how you want the pipes to go based on what you can see coming, and you can sort of put that pipe anywhere you want. Or you could just write directly over the pipe you just placed, but it'll take a little longer. There's a little almost phases in like a Star Trek. And your third option is just to place the pipe you don't want out in the middle of nowhere. Right. All right. And you'll be penalized later. So once the timer on the right clicks down, the goo will come out of the pipe and start slowly going through your setup of pipes. As long as that stuff has a place to go, it will keep going. All right. And so you want to make it go as far as it can. It's a incredibly simple concept. The round ends when either the stuff coming out of the pipe hits a point where it can't go any further, or it comes to a point where it just comes back on itself. It goes into a pipe there's already goo in, or it just goes off the screen. All right. At that point, the computer will tally up how many pipes you had that had stuff running through it. You get credit for them and points, and then it'll take away any points for any pieces that you've just got randomly scattered outside of the effective area.
Right, and in order to progress to the next round, you're given a number in the upper right corner of the screen, and you have to fill that number of pipes with flues before you.
Flues. And and again, if you have any stray pipes that are just sitting out there, after it calculates your score, that comes off in a negative way. I've actually got the scoring here. It's pretty simple. You get 50 points for each section that the flues flows through. You get 100 points for each section, extra section that it flows through, and you get 500 for each time the flues crosses itself. Now, I'm going to tell you, just that particular technique was something I only got into near the end of my play, because when I started this game up, I was like, I have no idea what I was doing. I mean, I had zero idea. I knew, okay, this stuff has to go through a pipe. But I mean, if I'd played this and not had to play it for the show and not had to keep playing it, I would have instantly not played it. because this is not my kind of puzzle games, not my thing, and it was confusing, and I didn't know what I was doing. Thank God that we had to play, because the more I played it, the more I liked it. And it, to me, it was a very addictive game. And I ended up playing it a lot. And I'm not gonna say I got great at it, but I got better than I was when I started.
And you could see you could tell that you were getting better. To me, that was the key. Is like, I don't think I ever really got good at this game either, but I could tell that every time I sat down to play it, I felt like I was getting better at it.
The thing that I like about this game, just to jump to it, is it's a simple game. It's not hard to understand once you understand the basics, all right? But you can feel like a big man when you start learning the techniques that will make you better at it. The advanced placement of the pipes in different spots on the board that you're not to yet is vital, especially on the later levels, the latest ones I saw anyway, and I'm sure it gets a lot more crazy as you go up. If you've got a straight piece and you've got and you need a crooked piece, you can set the straight piece to where it'll connect to the other side of the crooked piece that you're going to try to get anyway. And if you use this sort of strategy, you can actually start another pipeline with pieces you don't want that you can eventually get to. And then once you do that, you've got plenty of time.
And then you can really go to town with the artistic side of the game.
That's right. Now, you can get to a point, and much like in Tron Light Cycles, where you can't go any further. Which I found this out towards the end of the week, is that if you hit F, it will make the flues go faster.
And you get bonus points for that.
And so this is the basic concept of the game. Now, it's not the entirety of the game. This game is not it's not super colorful. It's not, the graphics aren't super great. It doesn't have tremendous music. It's just the game. And you can see how something like this could be included in like a Windows Entertainment Pack. Much like Minesweeper or something. It's that kind of game. And in fact, they've made it more fancy than it really needs to be.
And that's the thing. Like, we play so many games that started their life on 8-bit platforms and then were ported to the Amiga with extra graphics, extra modes, things like that. This is one case where this is the origination. This is the alpha version of Pipe Mania. And I spent most of my time playing the Super Nintendo version of this game.
Oh, okay. And do you know what consoles aside from the ones I mentioned?
This came out on the Game Boy, and the Super Famicom.
The Game Boy, that's an obvious one, isn't it?
It didn't get a U.S. release on the Super Nintendo. I had to play the Japanese version.
Oh, I see.
But this game has basically, they took, Japanese developers are great at this. They take a concept that's developed in Europe or in the States, and then they make it a million times better. I mean, if you look at like the kind of plodding malaise of a game like Jumpman and then Super Mario Brothers, or the burning wreckage of something like Bard's Tale, and then the pristine perfection of Final Fantasy. And so I'm not
giving you that one.
This is another example. They take the core concept. It's still the exact same thing. It's a grid. You've got pipes flowing through. They give it a graphical update to where they change the color of the pipes. Like after you've laid the pipes and they're connected, you can see what's connected and where your route is. They put in a shop. So after a certain number of rounds, your points are converted into dollars, and you can buy things like point doublers, or you can buy extra lives, stuff like that. And they put in, like in this game, one of the most confusing things to me is that you have an origin point for your pipe, but you don't have an end point. You don't have
not in the early.
Yeah, in the early. And I never got good enough at the Amiga version to get to the later levels.
No, I didn't get that high.
This game, the Super Nintendo version, starts out with an end point. And to me, that makes the game a little bit more understandable, because at the beginning, I was just like you. If I had to play this just for fun, I would have never gotten past that first or second go, because I didn't get it. But once it clicked and I got it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'll tell you, the thing that I like about Pipe Mania and this kind of puzzle game is it's procedurally generated. Like, it's not you trying to be smarter than the game designer. For example, in a game like Lemmings, you've got to put yourself in the mind of the person that's making this level, and you've got to figure out how to get through it in the way that they want you to. A game like Pipe Mania is like Tetris, where you have just an infinite combination of pieces and you've got to make it work however you want. What makes this even better than Tetris is you have the whole crossing thing, making the loops and things, which sort of lets you add your own style and lets you get creative with the layouts. This game ticks a lot of my buttons because I've got a love of trains, and this is sort of like a train track layout kind of thing going on, so I like that part of it. And I like the fact too that you can either play for, do I want to, this is true in both versions, do I want to make a really quick layout to get the exact number of pipes that I need to complete the level, hit the F button and get the bonus points that way? Or do I want to make this really elaborate layout and take the chance that I'm going to lose points because I'm going to end up with extra pipe pieces? So there's multiple ways to play this game, and I really like that.
Just because you mentioned how much you love trains, when I was researching this came up. There's a North Korean game called Railway Assemblage, right? And it was sponsored by the regime, right?
The regime?
Yeah, the regime of the propaganda regime, as it's said here. And it was from 2006, and it was a simplified version. It included a simplified version of Pipe Mania, in that you're joining sections of railway to get a fast railroad track from South Korea to North Korea.
Oh, we've got Amiga Bong in Korea right now in the chat. You should check that out, Amiga Bong.
I think it's funny. When you said that, I had to laugh. As you go, after you get, this game has the classic password level system, okay? And once you get past the first section, you go to this sort of, and this was really bizarre, is that bonus round or whatever, where the pipes fall from the top, or they scoot across, and you have to hit the button, and they fall into place, and then they release the flues up to it. I did that. I don't know how well I did at it, but I assume every time I went there, I was like, man, this is bizarre.
I always forget about looking up passwords online. I should have done that.
Did you fare well in that round?
No, because I never got to it.
Oh, wow.
I was never able
better
to get.
Than you?
Yeah. Now it's probably because like I said, I spent the majority of my time playing the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
But even then, I still came back to the Amiga version. Another big difference is that they give you a lot more time before the flue starts flowing on the Super Nintendo version. This game, I mean, you've got enough time to kind of get going, and then boom, you're under the gun.
The second wave, which as far as I got, I did get pretty far in it, is in like a fish tank. Now, one of the things, listen, you've got the grid pattern, you've got the pipes in the first level, which as far as I went, the second level is just more grid pattern. But what ends up happening is some parts of the grid are damaged, so you can't build there, and so you have to get around them. And on the fish tank levels, some parts are damaged. Plus, occasionally there'll be a fish there you've got to work your way around, and so you've got to adjust your pipe accordingly. This game ramps up. It's funny. I don't like this, but I like it. When you're trying to lay down this pipe, and that flues is coming, and you see it coming, and you're hitting those buttons. Come on! Especially if you have to replace a pipe in a spot.
It's so slow.
It's so slow that because it phases in and phases out and then phases back in, that if the flues gets to that point when it's still slightly pixelated, phasing in, that's it. That round's over, and it really ramps up the tension. It's a very clever. It's one of those just like ground breaking, like just basic awesome design. Like someone sat around, came up with this concept, and it worked. It does. Again, this game is it's simple looking. The sound's not that great, but the play is great. No one can be more surprised than I am that I enjoyed it, and I was pressing hard to get. I was so close to getting past those stupid. I was one pipe away from getting past the fish tank level to see what's next. I flipped ahead. I looked on the internet to see some of the other levels, and like I said, as you advance up, they change. Some of the rules change. There's a lot more obstacles. There's like bombs. There's places where you have to end the pipe. So it's a different. The game it advances. Yeah. And if you play the expert, did you try playing the expert version?
I tried. I don't have the brain power.
The expert version basically it introduces a second set of pipes.
And you've got to select you basically you get another 5 pipes. So in theory, it's easier. But in practice, you've got to hold the button down and press down to get the lower section, and then hold the button in. And for a game that requires you to place pipes very quickly, to me it was more of a detriment for sure.
Well, I couldn't do it. I was no good at it. Now, I thought this was interesting. As I was reading it, I thought, man, I could see how this would work, and it would be awesome. Apparently, a 3D version of this was released with the PlayStation in 2000 called Pipe Dreams 3D. Now, have you played this anywhere?
I looked at a quick video of it, and it didn't appear to be in 3D the way that I understood it. It seemed like maybe it was rendered in 3D, but it wasn't like Lemmings 3D or
I was thinking
like
it'd be cool if you had pipes that could go over and under different pipes.
Yeah, I think that was more of the deal.
I think that would be neat. So I'm going to look into that. That sounds pretty cool. It's mentioned, when I looked at the wiki on this, it's mentioned that a lot of games took the concept from this and used them as mini games. Now, I haven't played these games, but maybe you have. They mentioned that BioShock did it, Alien Swarm, Saints Row 4, and Warframe used many, and they all used it for the same thing, which is to simulate hacking. So some sort of hacking mini game, which you can sort of see that. Yeah. This game was pretty well received, both it's a mixed bag, really. I mean, if you sat down and looked at this game, it's hard to judge. It's new to me, so I like it. But I mean, if this came out and they said, "Here's your game. You paid X amount of dollars for it," would you give this a positive review? And I think I would. But I mean, could it have been fancier? I mean, it could have. But ultimately, it wouldn't have made the game any more fun. I guess. So. The Lemon folks give it a 7.8.
Which is a low score for Lemon.
Well, no.
We rarely do anything below an 8.
Well, yeah, but we only do the best stuff. That's probably why. Let's see here. Amiga Action gave it an 80. Amiga Force gave it a 79. Amiga Format gave it an 83. Amiga Power gave it a 79. And then CU Amiga gave it an 83. And the One gave it a 63. So so you're looking at the C average, or maybe below B. I think it's an awful good game. It's hard to give it a ranking because there's nothing to it, but it's good. So when a game is good, I mean, look at Tetris; it's the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give this a much higher recommendation. And the thing is, you load it up, you play it. It's quick. You can, if you had an old school Amiga, you could literally copy the files right on the hard drive. You didn't have to do anything weird, and it's it's got a nice high score table, so you can keep track of how well you're doing. I love it. I think it's great. You can see why it's been ported to so much stuff, and the Windows versions, everything else. I think this is one of my all-time favorite puzzle games that came out of nowhere.
I played a little bit of this on the Spectrum at our Taze Valley Computer Club meeting. And it's just as good. It's just as good.
How is it the same art style?
It's exactly the same. Just imagine what you see now with the palette on the Spectrum.
You could look at this right on the Spectrum. I have no doubt that it'd be very similar. I mean, that's another reason it would port so easily. I mean, you could almost port this like calculator and stuff like the old TIs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a simple game. I had a quick glance on eBay to see how this thing was selling. It's not bad if you're in Greece.
If you're in Greece,
this is one of those.
I hope you're not playing Pipe Mania. I hope you're out on the beach.
If this is one of those games that you can tell it's got an international flavor. In Greece, $5, take it home, boxed. Italy, $12. Germany, $26, and in the UK, as usual, your cup runneth over. I saw this going for 10, 21, 30, 53. There's a ton of them out there. So if you want to pick this one up.
Now, were you seeing all? Oh, we forgot to talk. I wanted to bring this up before
go ahead.
Left. This game probably has some of the most unappetizing box art I've ever seen.
I didn't even look at the box. What's it look like?
So the box of this game is a man, his face is contorted in pain, okay? His face is contorted in pain, and he is, and then you see the little dude from the corner of the screen there.
The plumber?
The plumber, and he's just like, hmm? And then you see the guy going, ah! And it looks like, I don't want a game to make me feel like what that guy looks like. Luckily, when they re-released this as Pipe Mania in the US on the Game Boy, they went with a much more kind of abstract, you've got some pipes with some flues coming out of it. Looks quite understated and cool.
You know what should have happened to this? That would have made it awesome. You license this and you put Mario in there.
Oh,
He's a plumber.
That would have been good.
You put some Nintendo music
behind it. That's a real
missed
opportunity.
I mean, because you got Dr. Mario. Mario's not a freaking doctor, but he is a freaking plumber. Look at this guy on the screen. Look at it. He's just some schlup. You put Mario in there. You have him dance around when he's doing well. You have him pout when he's doing bad. It's an easy gimmick. It would have worked great. They should do it now. Make it happen. They did release this on the DS, by the way, as well. So they've had ample opportunity to do their own version.
Yeah, yeah. We did get some user reviews. Every week we give our Patreon folk that are active on our Discord server a chance to review this week's game. Graham Vebke, he says, top puzzle game due to its playability and addictive nature, based on a simple premise of connecting pipe pieces presented in a Tetris manner to stem an impending water flow. Get it right, Graham, it's flues. Also appears as Pipe Dream on other systems, including the Amiga, and my favorite port is the C64 version. 8 out of 10.
I read that a lot, that the C64 version was better than the Amiga version.
The Fig.
That happens sometimes.
Figgy CTZ, he says, always had a soft spot for Pipe Mania. One of those games you start playing expecting to put it down after a couple of minutes, but just keep on playing.
That's true.
The Bark Bit, he says, graphics and sound are pretty basic, but this addictive puzzler draws you in for just one more go.
Yes.
At higher level, D-pad speed and fast thinking is crucial as you need to use the environment more and more. 9 out of 10. Pixels at Dawn from Merry Old England says, Tetris with fluid dynamics. Simple mechanics but devilishly addictive. Keeps the pressure on at all times.
Yes.
Could do with a bit more variety, but joins the elite few of having competitive multiplayer that supports 2 mice at once. 8 out of 10.
You know, we may have to play a competitive this.
Oh, I would love to go head to head with you.
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
especially since you told me you're no good at it, I might have a fighting chance.
And finally,
elbow you occasionally.
Matthew Perron from the Great White North. He says, awesome action puzzler game. Very addictive and fast-paced fun. The difficulty level ramps up perfectly. Somehow I missed this title, but I'll be sure to come back. 8 out of 10.
So everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Me, you, and all the users.
That's
right.
Has
that never happened?
That's never happened before.
Go get this game.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, it's such a quick play. You're in and out. It's perfect for like when you get a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Aaron, we did get some general feedback from last week's show. That's right, general. You see what I did there? He offers low-cost auto insurance as well.
Oh, God.
The Huck writes in. He says, hi, Boat. I really enjoyed your banter with Aaron regarding the pencil sharpener. I was going to grab it for
yes, he sent me a message about
I
that.
love good quality sharpeners, pencils, and pens, and I was totally with you. I really enjoyed Aaron's astounded reaction to the fact that people would actually spend hard-earned cash on such a trivial piece of equipment. Not to mention the reaction he had about the fact that people would listen to podcasts related to said trivial pieces of equipment.
I still can't believe that happened.
He says, I'm a big fan of this channel, and here's a link to some of her pencils and pens videos I thought you may enjoy. And he sent us, there's a whole channel out there just based on pencils, pens, and pencil sharpeners.
You know, just to make sure that I was right and that everyone else is insane, I went home and I talked to Teresa. I said, listen, have you heard of anybody actively collecting high-end pencil sharpeners? And she looked at me like I was an idiot. She goes, what? I was like, I'm telling you, people do this. And there's
I'm guessing.
No one could believe it. So I'm guessing West Virginia not a hotbed of pencil
sharpeners.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that maybe around here, not quite so big, but maybe it's more of a lot of people. It's big in Japan now, and it's big in Europe.
Just
obviously.
like adamant.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So, that's all the feedback from this week.
That's all you need.
Oh, actually, we got one more tiny bit.
It's not all the feedback.
Yeah, Amiga Bill, our buddy.
I love Bill.
Yeah. He says, awesome show, guys. This is in regards to our Tiger Claw Power Glove episode.
Yeah.
He says, I certainly enjoy these games more than you, especially Power Glove Reloaded, but your critique is very fair. Have you seen the packaging? OMG, it is a work of art.
Yeah.
And Tiger Claw even comes with a throwing star. Yeah. I know you'd like that.
We mentioned that, actually. I think that's cool. I mean, yeah, they definitely had good feelies and stuff in them. And I liked them more than you, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I liked them as much as Bill. Hey, you know, I'll listen to that show again. And the one thing I want to make darn good and sure that we do is say that while these games weren't necessarily our cup of tea, it's tremendous that the Amiga is starting to get some action, right?
Right.
We definitely want to fully promote these independent contractors, these small studios that are putting this stuff out. We love it. Keep it coming. And I also want to promote people that are putting cool junk in their boxes. keep that coming too, because that's awesome. And a lot of people like to take these boxes and stuff, just stick them up on their shelves. They look nice. So yeah, we both really enjoy that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Gary Hucker, who is in the chat with us, he says that he put those links there, and I forgot to copy what they were, but it's Fran Lab if you want electronics and pencils and pen reviews. So check that out. Speaking of reviews, Aaron, we did not get any iTunes reviews this past week.
I knew that.
You know,
we didn't have it at the beginning there. During the iTunes
hey man, I stopped doing that after you complained. Okay, so folks,
you Mac people,
if you have not given us an iTunes review yet and you enjoy the show, please go open up iTunes and write us a review. It really helps us get a lot of notice. The iTunes podcast store mart, whatever
store mart
is a place that is used by not just iTunes but tons of other podcasters to kind of aggregate popularity and things like that. And one way to kind of help spread the news about the show, one of the best ways, is if you can go in there and leave us a review, and we'd really appreciate it, and we'll read it on the air too.
I'll tell you something. I just looked over the chat and someone said iTunes sucks. I'm right there with you, but here's the thing. Here's what you do. You want to help us out. Help us out. So here's what you do. Go download iTunes. Right? You get on there.
Mm-hmm.
You go leave us a review. Basically talk about how great I am, and you can kind of put him over. You uninstall that sucker. You're done. You're just dipping your toe in the pool of Apple. That's what I do, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that on my computer.
Sure.
I don't blame these guys, but for just do us a solid, we'd appreciate it. And then tell us what you did. I would love to have someone come in and say, listen, here's what I did. And tell me that story. I will read your letter on the air. We'll dance a little jig. It'll be great. Thank you.
So, Aaron, last week, this is your first Amigos, if you're tuning in for the first time, every week we read the names of our Patreon supporters, people that support us over on patreon.com/Amigos podcast. We've got quite a list of supporters, and we honor them. I honor them in a special way through song and interpretive dance.
Oh no. Interpretive dance. Please add that to your repertoire. Do you dance like you sing?
Even better, baby.
Oh man, it'd be like the chick on Seinfeld all over again.
And every week we run a contest. Who can guess the song from last week's show? Last week, Aaron, the name of the song was the Animaniacs Theme.
That's what that was?
Theme, yeah.
I like that show too, and I didn't get it.
You know, I watched that show all the time growing up. That hit me right at the right time. And I spent a long time. I wrote down the words like as I was watching it so I could memorize it, so I could memorize the song. I was that into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, several of the people that wrote on that show went on to do great things. I believe the two of the guys that worked on Batman animated series worked on that show as well.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, you had some. It's a well-written show.
It's very smart. Very smart. But I'll tell you who wasn't smart. Everybody except for Pixels at Dawn, because Pixels was the only person that submitted a winning guess.
So wait a minute, you just said everyone else was smart, but Pixels at Dawn.
No, I'll tell you who wasn't smart.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought you were bad-mouthing it.
No.
Good job, Pixels.
I would never badmouth the Pix. So, this week, if you know the answer to this song, you can email me at john@amigosretrogaming.com. That's not right. I've caught the bug. john@amigospodcast.com. Actually, you know what? john@amigosretrogaming, valid email address.
It is?
Yeah.
Are you going to run over and get it real quick?
It's all forwarded to my main box. So,
I hate people that screw up the email addresses.
Yeah, they're awful. They're the worst. So, anyway, here we go. Sometimes you got to massage the vocal cords a little bit.
Let me help you out there.
What was that thing you were talking about with the claw last week?
The iron claw?
The iron claw?
Yeah, now you...
Yeah,
and then
it's
you're
all part
ready.
of it.
What the hell was that?
That was my warm-up.
That explains it.
Counting Virtual Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retro Man, Cave Tim, Drew Daniel Williams, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Eder, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Moore, Andy Craig, Shanzo, Darren Lomax calling 419. Bachbid, Roland Book, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Killand, Alan Kebab, Chicote, Level John Marshall, Matthew Perrone, Ricky DeRoche, a creepy dead boy, Biggie CTZ, the Slow Norris, Stefan Seagal, Monson, Evan Helen, Benner 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Foles, Dreamcatcher, Orange Aru, Graham Vepke, Bryn Dowdy, Lane Denson, Adam Batters, B. O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, and Gary Huckle, C. Brian Jones. Take it home now. Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Alec Kebab, Anthony Chavez, Tips from the Crib, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rillo, THT, and Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Humberstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warnes, Pixels at Dawn, Yo Bjorn Ma.
It's emotional. I feel like it's like the James Brown guy. You come out and put the cape
Yeah,
on you
and
help
then
you off the
but
stage.
then I spring.
Wow!
Yeah, that's right. I taught him that move.
Did you?
Yeah.
I realized you were that old, Boat.
Well, I'm older than I seem.
You're the hardest working podcaster in entertainment.
You don't have to tell me, buddy. Next week, Aaron, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to leave the sewer.
Finally. Thank God.
We're going to come out of the gutter and go straight to the stars. We're going to play Jet Strike.
Jet Strike? I've never heard of that.
Me neither.
Ooh, what is it? Flight sim?
Flight sim. Well, I don't know if it's a flight sim or not. I was just
guessing?
agreeing with whatever you said.
I like jets.
I like strikes.
No, you don't.
That's true.
Bam, teacher joke. There it was.
All right, so make sure you tune in. Guys, you can watch us live. We record this live every Friday evening on YouTube. You can join the fine folks in the podcast room.
It's been crazy time in here today. I'm just
Graham
watching this stuff flow
Vebke,
by.
Pixel Vixen's with us. Pixels at Dawn. Pretty good games. Edvin Helland. Christopher Chapman was here. He's supposed to be studying, he says. Barkbit Craig McCullen. 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, the 10 mark. Paul J, of course. Freyguard 1982. Gary Hucker. We got a whole ton of fine folks here. So, thank you all so much for coming and watching us live. Thank you out there in listener land for listening. We'll be back next week. Until then, keep playing your Amiga. We'll see you next time. Adios. All right. So
you went to work there, didn't you?
Well, it's funny when
Your range, I mean, it was an incredible range. It was just random. It's like you wrote a D20 on the range chart.
It's funny because there's no middle eight in that song. It's just the verse over and over and over again. There's no bridge. There's no chorus. I didn't think about that when I wrote it down.
I like when you went nuts, but then you dropped down into the Elvira territory. Elvira.
All right, so guys, we are going to stop the stream for a couple minutes just to let YouTube reset it because we're going to start a whole new stream for our whole new show.
Tell them the truth, Boat.
Guys, I should have mentioned that on the freaking show. That's all right. We'll talk about
we're going to use the restroom. That's what we're going to do.
We'll mention it next time. We need to talk about the show on the other show.
I forgot to tell them I screwed up the email address too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
You can't win them all.
Put in some graphics, Boat. Coming up next.
Yeah. So we are going
we'll
to
do a commercial you can stick in there.
That's true.
I know you love post-production.
Oh, I can't get enough of it. So we're actually going to do a new show in about 5 minutes called Our Sinclair. This is episode 1 of our ZX Spectrum show. 2 American dudes talking about a system they don't know anything about.
Where the hell is our Sinclair?
Yeah.
Where the hell is it? It's usually sitting. Every episode we've done, it's sat right
been right
here.
there, yeah.
And I'll turn around for our Sinclair, and our Sinclair ain't there.
Right. So we're going to stop the stream to let YouTube reset, and then we'll be back soon.
Go get you an adult beverage.
Settle in.
Fill your pipes.
Throw another log on the fire for me.
And we got a game right out of the gate that is a passionate game for me. So
I've
I'm
got
very
the breakfast
excited.
and coffee. Here we go.